Today we are going to set up Playwright tests and run them automatically using GitHub Actions, even if you have never done CI/CD before. But first, let's make sure our repo is ready. So here is my repo, and I can even leave the link in the description so you can check it out. So this is a repo, and I have cloned it in my local machine. And once you have cloned it, you can have your repo, for example, cloned in your machine. And once you have done that, if you don't have a Playwright test project, you can simply create a directory and then run this command. So I have created this new directory called the Playwright GitHub Actions, and I have then cd to the project and ran the command npm init playwright at latest. So it downloads everything, it sets up the Playwright project, and it will ask you a few questions like do you want to use TypeScript or JavaScript. You can choose your favorite script language and where to put your test which is in the test folder. And then here you have to say yes to the next question, which is the add a GitHub Actions workflow. So click the default, enter the default option there, true, which is a yes, and then it's going to set up by installing all the Playwright browsers, Chrome, WebKit, Firefox, and it's going to do everything. But you can also manually do this via this install command. So what it did is it actually did all the installation of the browsers, downloaded it, and so it installed the Playwright test, and it installed all the packages. So you can see here the browsers, it downloaded the browsers, and then the command, it says everything is done, and it says you can run several commands to run the test in debug mode, or you can run a specific test, and that's all. So this is all ready. So you can even test whether your setup is correct by running the npx playwright test, and it ran the example test, the initial test that it created. So you can see the test passed. So now we are ready to go to the next step. So we have a dedicated folder for our Playwright project, and it is separate. So you can see here, once the project is set up, it has all the test folder and all the package JSON, and here you can see the .github/workflows. This is where the workflow is defined, which is pretty much a YAML file, YAML extension. We call it as YAML. So you can see here all the job names and all the settings of the test, and what are the actions and what are the commands to run, and you can see the sequence of commands to run. So first install the dependencies, and then install the browsers, and you give the appropriate npx command, and then finally you run the tests. And at the end of the test, you specify what Playwright report to be generated and how long it needs to be there, the retention days. So we have here the structure, which is the YAML file, and then you can see here when you go to the repos, as soon as you created the GitHub Actions, when you did in this step, the repository already has an actions, and it would have started running the test, but nothing happened so far. So here, when you go to your GitHub repo, if you click the Actions tab, you can see all the workflows happening here, which we defined. These workflows, we have defined it in our project. When I tried to run this, when I came here the first time, I didn't see any workflow here. The reason was, when I went to this root folder, the GitHub Actions was not defined in the root of the project. It was inside I had many folders, and one of the folders had the actual Playwright project. So I was defining the workflows inside that project. If you do like this inside a particular project or inside any other folder, you might have many folders, and if this GitHub workflow is inside that folder, it won't work. So what I had to do is I had to move this to the root of the repository itself, and then create the workflow folder there and the YAML file which defines the workflow. So that's what I did using the command. I made a new root folder.github and then moved the file there, and then I committed and then I tried to push the workflow. And here another problem came when my push was rejected, and it says failed to push. So what happened is I used the token to log into this repo, so my token didn't have the scope. So you need to make sure that you go to your tokens in your GitHub settings and make sure the scope is the right one. And once I updated my scope, added the scope to include the permission to push the workflows, as soon as once I checked the checkbox for the scope and updated my token, and I tried again, it worked. So you can see here that it pushed the data, and then I checked if anything is left to push, and it says everything is up to date, so we are good to go now. And that's when I came here to my project, and then I was actually able to see the GitHub Actions workflow. So this is how you have to set your workflow